Okay, we are on live.
Hello and welcome to this first webinar in our 70th anniversary series. I am Margaret Barry and I am the current president of IUHPE, and on today's seminar I am joined by two other members of the executive board. Professor Louise Potvin, and Louise is chair of the Global Organising Committee for the World Conference, which takes place in Montreal in May 2022. Joining Louise today is Professor Stephan van den Broucke. Stephan is the IUHPE Vice President for Scientific Affairs, and he is also Vice Dean of Psychology at the Catholic University of Louvain in Belgium. So welcome everybody, and welcome Louise and Stephan. This webinar series really aims to celebrate our 70 years of IUHPE, and it's one of a number of special events that we are organising this year to mark this very significant milestone in the lifetime of the organisation. I wish to thank the co-organisers of this webinar series. Stephan is one of those co-organisers, together with Sione Tuitahi, our Vice President for Communications, and of course all the excellent input and support from Patricia Diaz da Silva, our Head of Communications at IUHPE, which made all of this possible. As we mark the 70th anniversary, I think it's interesting to consider, the context in which IUHPE was formed. In 1951 at an international conference in Paris, just a couple of years after the end of the Second World War, a time of very significant social, economic, cultural, and indeed global change. It was a few years after the United Nations agencies had been established, including the World Health Organization. And of course, at that time, there was a kind of strategic long-term view that we needed to have strong global leadership in advancing health and well-being of the population. And indeed, the importance of global cooperation in all of this. And so here we are now in 2021, and we're in the middle of, again, significant global change, the middle of a pandemic. And we again see so clearly the need for global cooperation, the need for strong public health systems, and indeed the critical role that health promotion has to play as we manage this crisis and deal with the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I think it's clear that the kind of rationale, the raison d'etre for having an organization like IUHPE is as clear as ever. Initially, it was set up as an international NGO to advance health education globally, and then going on subsequently in the 90s to expand that to include health promotion. So the core mission of IUHPE in terms of promoting global health and well-being and achieving equity in health between and within countries of the world is still very, very relevant. And indeed, there is a lot more to be done. So in this first webinar, we will start with a broad-based review of the development of health promotion, and the presenters will critically reflect on developments in health promotion policy, practice, and research. Each of the presenters will talk for about 15 or 20 minutes, and this will then be followed by an opportunity for comments and questions and answers and some discussion around that. So as they're speaking, you can put your questions or comments in the chat box, and we will be monitoring that and picking that up at the end. As I said, this is the first in the series of the webinars, and we have a whole program that will run, in fact, throughout the year, throughout 2021, as we celebrate the anniversary. So next month, on April the 22nd, we will have a presentation on salutogenesis, and this will be from the International Global Working Group. So in fact, many of the seminars that come afterwards will showcase the work of our global working groups, which are, of course, a really important platform for advancing the professional development of certain areas within health promotion. In April, we will also have a second webinar. We'll have two from the International Francophone Network for the Promotion of Health. And then in May, our Global Working Group on Health Literacy will present. And in June, We will then be streaming live our special anniversary event, which will take place at the European Conference in Girona, and that's on the 16th of June. That's a 1-hour session and a panel discussion, and there's a lot of keynote speakers and everything. So please do check out the details. They're up on the website, and join us. Please join us for the event. Note the dates, and the call for abstracts for that particular conference is still open. Okay, so that's enough from me. So at this stage, I'm going to hand over to Stephan, who's going to be our first presenter. So over to you, Stephan.
Thank you, Margaret. I'm very happy that I can do this presentation and be participant in this first webinar. I'm opening my presentation here, and as you can see, I will be talking about mainly health promotion practice and try to be a bit critical about what we do and where we can go, where we have been and where we can go with health promotion practice. And of course, I think many of you working within health promotion will realize that health promotion is a process, and I think the process can be looked at in the longer term, can be looked at from a bird's eye, but also the practice of health promotion itself, of course, is a process. And this is even put within the definition of health promotion as it's put in the Ottawa Charter, which we all know. We all know, of course, that health promotion is about health, but health within health promotion is considered in a very broad way, and that health promotion is also very principled. So we talk about not just health in the physical sense, but also social, mental, spiritual. We also look at the responsibility of the various stakeholders. So not only the people who look after their own health, but also governmental responsibility. And health is worth investing in. We consider it as an important resource. And participation and community work are key. So if we want to increase the control of people and communities to better work on their health, health promotion has a number of ways to do that. I think one of the best ways to conceive of it is to look at a river, and we can look at health promotion at a downstream level where the river meets the sea. And I think this is something which many of you are familiar with which we also know was at the start of health promotion. And it's basically about enabling people to achieve their health potential. So it's a lot about empowerment, but with the people themselves. Very many actions in health education and working on health literacy are really targeting that level. We then have the midstream level where we try to change and create conditions for health. And so here we enter already more in the commitment, in the political support, and trying to change the context. And then, of course, we can try to work at the upstream level where we try to mediate between various interests in society. And I think this is something that is more tricky, but also important, and I think very challenging also for the future of health promotion practice. Now, we have now, as Margaret just pointed out, when we look at the start of health promotion, or even before the Ottawa Charter, when we started with health education, we have achieved a lot. But I think if we break down our achievements in terms of the downstream, midstream, and upstream level, I think we have to acknowledge that we've been very good at progressing in the downstream approaches, that we have made some advancement also in the midstream, but that upstream, I think, is still a challenge. And I think this is also one of the things we can further invest in. So my point of my presentation here is not to make an analysis of what we have achieved and where we are not, but I think we can say that health promotion has changed a lot. And what I try to do first is to look at some of the factors that have driven the change. First of all, I think we have to acknowledge also the important role of the World Health Organization and the global conferences that have been organized. We often refer to Ottawa, but obviously there have been a number of follow-up conferences regularly, and each time specific concepts, specific aspects, specific strategies have been looked at, deepened and improved. And so if we want to get an overview of where we have made advancement, I think this overview of cities and years is a good start, because these showed also the various aspects that we have been developing within health promotion. It's of course not only WHO that has driven this. I think we have fortunately also the practitioners and the practice of health promotion, and we can say that 35 years of health promotion since Ottawa, or 70 years if we start at the start of IUHPE, we've seen an incredible change. We've seen a very large expansion of the workforce, of those people who call themselves health promoters or working in health promotion. We've seen a very wide range of activities. We've also seen lots of training programs emerge and improve. And we have seen the establishment of structures and institutions, training institutions, but also NGOs, local centers, institutes, and those organizations that foster and promote health promotion. And of course, it would be a shame not to really focus on the role of the International Union on this 70th birthday of the organization. I think we can say that the IUHPE has been a driving force, especially in the professionalization of health promotion, in working towards not only dissemination of knowledge so that people know more about what is health education and how to work on it, and how health promotion works and is more than health education, but also developing and sharing and extending the evidence base, which is the work, of course, also for researchers. And Louise is going to highlight that more in the second speech of today. But also translating what comes out of the research has been an important task of the IUHPE. And last but not least, also advocacy, of course, to make sure that the interests of this field of practice, which is health promotion, has also been taken to the attention and defended and improved. So advocacy is certainly also one of the tasks and missions of the IUHPE. And one of the fields, I think, if I would like to select one of the fields, one of the achievements of IUHPE and of health promotion practice in general, I think the CompHP core competencies framework is certainly one of my favorites, and I'll explain why. I think one of the ways in which we've been able to capture what is necessary to really work professionally in health promotion is definitely the development of a framework that identifies what is necessary, what are the conditions. And so the CompHP framework and the accreditation system that comes with it, I think, are some of the most important achievements of the IUHPE in the past decades, and certainly also for fostering the practice and the effectiveness of health promotion work. I am not going to go into the details of what are the competencies, but you see them on this slide, and you see that it's covering many things, including the ethical values and also the skills that are required to be what we call, or what we like to call, a good health promotion specialist. So health promotion has been changed from within through the WHO, through IUHPE, through the work of many institutions. But health promotion has also changed because the world has not stood still in 70 years. Health promotion is part of a changing world. And part of that world is the world of disease and health. And we've witnessed over the past 70 years a changing burden of disease. It's a bit strange maybe to say that at a time when we're all struggling with an infectious disease, but chronic conditions, of course, have been predominantly the focus of health promotion also of the past decades, save the last year. So with the burden of disease that's changed, and also the focus, or the increasing focus, on mental health, stress, violence, injuries, multimorbidity, we have the need to also change the ways in which we address health and the health challenges. And I think health promotion is particularly well placed to contribute to that, and I'll come back to that in a minute. We've also seen growing inequity within countries, between countries in the world, And with that comes also health inequity, which is a major challenge for the public health systems. And again, I think health promotion can contribute. We've also seen globalization, which on one hand has a number of advantages. It improves the opportunities to access and transfer knowledge. We would not have been able to have webinars like we have now 10, 15 years ago. So I think globalization and the exchange makes it easier to stay on top. But it also has some potential threats in terms of, for example, the possibility of marketing unhealthy lifestyles, unhealthy products. And if you can wrap that up as free trade, I think there's a challenge also for health promoters. Also, mobility of people can create health challenges. I think COVID is a case in point. And then last but not least, of course, we have the whole range of communication technology, the incredible change we have seen there, which again has advantages for health promotion, but also new challenges that we have to deal with. Not only dependency on IT, but also, again, marketing of unhealthy products and unhealthy thoughts and lifestyles that can come with it. So with all that, I think we've seen the changes at global level have been also, these changes that I've come to list have also been drivers, I think, of really getting the place of health promotion within public health more pronounced. And I think we can safely say that health promotion is now become a part of modern public health. I think all over the world, if you go to public health conferences, health promotion has its place. And we see also that not only in the topics and the problems that are being addressed, health promotion is being also looked into, but also the skills and the competencies that are required of modern day public health specialists include health promotion. And this is, amongst other things, highlighted by some of the work also of the World Health Organization, where the idea is to integrate some of the health promotion competencies coming from CompHP, also in the competencies and accreditation systems of public health. So I think really showing a mainstreaming of what is health promotion within modern day public health. Now, this is something I think which we have to really look into for the moment, but also for the future of health promotion. I think it's one of the points that we might look into. What does it mean to be mainstreaming health promotion within public health? If you look at it a bit through the ideas of a SWOT analysis of strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, I think we can look at the mainstreaming of health promotion within public health as offering fantastic opportunities for the field of health promotion. I think not only does it allow us to showcase what we have done over the past 70 years or also since Ottawa Charter, I think we can really showcase that. And the core professional competencies, again, are a good example of that. The fact that the wider public health community looks at what we have done and sees our competencies framework as an example shows that we actually have something to contribute even other than approaches and models and ideas. Obviously, also the ideas that we carry, the methods and the strategies, which have a focus not only on health problems, but also on what enables health, is something that we can integrate and we can bring into public health. And we believe that this is for the better of public health and will better be able to address the challenges of modern day public health. And this means that we can also look at the capacities of public health, and this goes beyond the individual health workers' competencies, but also the systems aspects of capacities. I think we can look at them also through a health promotion lens and bring, again, our experience, our views into the world of public health. But you seldom have opportunities without also some threats, and I think we should also consider the threats and see them as challenges. I think one of the challenges that because of the mainstreaming, we also see almost paradoxically a weakening of the organizational capacity of public health, of health promotion, sorry, within public health. So often institutes that used to be specifically organized for or installed for health promotion have become part of something bigger and not only lost their visibility, but also their take on things. So I think there's a risk that health promotion might get absorbed in what is actually traditional public health. And this is still dominated by other and more predominantly medical professions. And then we might lose some grip, so that then we'll lose some of the capacity to bring in our message and our approaches. And that would, of course, be a shame. And I think if you look at this in terms of what health promotion practitioners are, I think we come to the question, who are we? How can we describe our own role there? And what is health promotion in terms of professional groupment? Is health promotion, well, I think if you look at how health promotion has been described over the past decades, I think there's been various terms and concepts suggested and defended. Obviously, health promotion is more than a set of thoughts. It's actually a social movement. It's sometimes also an ideology. It's definitely also a field of practice. And there's other terms that could be brought in. But the question is health promotion also a discipline? Is it also a profession? Well, I think if we want to answer that question, we have to understand what we mean by discipline or by profession. And a discipline is actually a field of study that has own specific knowledge, has a history, has its own value base, its own traditions, code of conduct, research modes and approaches. And a profession needs to be categorized and recognized as a profession. And that means that the workforce needs to be recognized as such. It needs professional competencies, and it needs the ways to build those competencies and capacities. So if we look at health promotion through that lens, we can see whether health promotion is indeed and counts as a discipline. Well, some arguments are in place that say, or that are more like in favor and say, yes, we could consider health promotion as a discipline. We do have our set of concepts and values, and I think the Ottawa Charter really brings those forward. We do have a methodology that we use and promote, which shows itself, for example, in the way we build evidence and the way we build the knowledge that we can implement also in the field. And again, this is something Louise will highlight further on. So yes, we have some elements that say that argue for being a discipline, but some others are not in place. We don't have a single paradigm with its own epistemology. We don't have our own, well, we have methodological foundations, but we have actually borrowed them from other established or more established disciplines like psychology, sociology, education science, political science. So we actually draw from a number of existing disciplines to build our own. So in a way, we might be considered as an emerging discipline, or maybe we are really transdisciplinary and we can keep on being transdisciplinary and uniting various disciplines. Is health promotion a profession? Again, some arguments would argue for. We do have university programs, we have courses, we have some of them are excellent. We have our own journals, we have regional conferences, global conferences. We have NGOs that really support the development of the discipline or the field. IUHPE, of course, being a case in point, but we also have foundations that support our development. There's a number of countries that are really focusing on the foundations, and their role is also very important. And again, we do have, although not widely implemented, but emerging an accreditation system for health promotion specialists and training. So those arguments are really showing that we could be considered partly as a profession, but on the other hand, we don't have a distinctive institutional structure. We don't have the accreditation system rolled out globally. We've started to do that, but we have not achieved to involve all countries and all parts of the world yet. So it is still largely voluntary. And we don't have an oversight by a professional body, which means that de facto, everybody who wants to call themselves a health promoter can do so. So we don't have any accreditation system that really makes that firm. So again, a mixed result in the sense of we are an emerging profession, but we have not yet reached the stage of a profession as such. And maybe we might choose not to do that at all. So maybe what we can consider is that the very contribution of health promotion to public health lies especially in that complementary nature. Maybe that is the strategy of choice. So we do have the possibility of mainstreaming health promotion, and by doing so, we can ensure that what we consider important as health promotion workers find its way in public health and can also be reflected in the training curricula of the public health professionals. And at the same time, we can also continue to build a core group or body of health promotion specialists who can keep the fire burning, so to speak, specialists within academia and research, within policy and within practice, people who see health promotion as their core business, maintain the identity and the traditions of the field, and try to advance the further knowledge, values, competencies, and basically inspire and instruct the mainstreaming health promoters. So that could be the future to go. So this is what I had to bring in terms of the discussion on where we are and what we have done in terms of the practice of health promotion. And I think to conclude, I'd like to quote Abraham Lincoln saying that health promotion, well, to make a variant on what he quoted. So the best way to predict the future is to create it. And I think in that sense, health promotion community should not just face the future, but help to create the future of health promotion. So thank you very much for listening to this presentation, and I'll be around for the questions afterwards. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Stephan, and thank you for raising a number of important issues and questions, and I'm sure people have comments on that, and please do use the chat function. Okay, so now over to Louise for her presentation.
Good morning, and I will, good morning because it's morning here in Montreal. I will share my screen with you, and I just want to acknowledge that this work I'm doing with a colleague of mine from France, Didier Jourdain, and this reflection and project is a joint project. So, and how to strengthen health promotion knowledge. There's one thing that in his presentation, Stephan didn't mention health promotion is. He didn't mention a body of knowledge. So, in the origin of this problem, or a research domain, and I would say that part of the origin of this problem is that all funding documents, and there is very little mention of research on what kind of knowledge these values should be resting upon, and how we create that knowledge that we want to be using to promote health in our practice. But despite these limitations, there was a productive global research field in health promotion, as can be shown in our journals. There are graduate research-oriented programs. There are departments in higher education institutions, and there are research units in universities that are doing health promotion. But the development of all that follows what we would call a potluck model. So health promotion is the transformative project that is in the discourse and practice of health promotion is attractive. And it's a kind of a magnet for researchers from a diversity of horizon. And they bring in their own concepts, methods, worldviews to create this, I would say, some may call it transdisciplinary, multidisciplinary, but at the time, a bit contested domain for health promotion knowledge. And this contested domain has been really exacerbated by the evidence problem, where on the one hand, you have a strong discourse based on ideology, a strong professional workforce supported by strong institutions like the WHO. But since the rules of validity for knowledge and evidence and the multidisciplinarity of the field does not allow us to be, I would say, positive or affirmative or well-grounded or widely recognize of what constitute good evidence for health promotion, then there's this imbalance. And for a lot of people, health promotion is primarily a discourse. Whereas in order to re-equilibrate the balance between a strong discourse and a research rational base for doing health promotion, we believe that this would be facilitated by a unified health promotion research field. So how do we do that? Structuring the field of health promotion, bringing this potluck into some coherence. Well, we believe that there are essentially 3 dimensions that could be used to structure our knowledge and the way we produce knowledge and why we produce knowledge for health promotion. There's first an ontological dimension to our research. What is health promotion made of that makes it possible for researchers to produce knowledge about health promotion? There is an epistemological dimension. How is knowledge about health promotion possible? And what are the rules for producing valid knowledge? And we believe that because health promotion is strongly linked to a core set of humanist values, there is an ethical dimension in doing health promotion research over and above the scientific values that are widely agreed internationally. So in terms of ontology, so what is health promotion made of? So we suggest that health promotion is primarily about social practice, about action, about doing things to promote one's health. So practice are defined usually as the transformative actions of actor in the pursuit of valued goals. And in our analysis of the field, we believe that there are 4 types of practice that health promoters are doing. There are the practice of individuals and population to maintain and increase their own health. There are people who will take on a healthy lifestyle. There are people who will do things for their health, their own practice. And this is an area of research for health promotion. There are the practices of the professionals and stakeholders to improve population health. There are many interventions and programs that are led by professionals. And when Stephan was discussing the professionalization of health promotion, it is the practice of those who claim to be health promotion professionals that should be, and that is part of this knowledge base. There are also the practice of politicians and institutions. Stephan did mention that there are institutions around the world that claim to be health promotion. So their practice should be part of our knowledge base as well as the practices of innovators. We believe that, and we think that the way we're doing health promotion research is also part of the field of practices that compose health promotion. So the knowledge production about health promotion is itself a practice in health promotion. Epistemology. So epistemological question is, how can knowledge be produced? And our thinking is much less developed about this dimension than it is about the ontological dimension. Because of its multidisciplinary nature at this point in Potvin model, development model, health promotion knowledge base has been created through, I would say, all possible epistemology. People claim to do health promotion research because they are attracted to the value, but they use their disciplinary perspective for that. When we look at the field, though, we think that there are two untenable assumptions of the positivist epistemology that is very rooted to public health and epidemiology. And those untenable assumptions are that causality and the possibility of isolating and manipulating putative causes through control experiments is not really tenable because it assumes the objectivation of human being, that is, stripping human beings from their capacity to be causal, which is, in other words, disempowering human beings. And the second assumption that we think is untenable is the externality and superiority of scientific knowledge for all the other knowledge. Because health promotions are in the realm of practice, there is a symbolic dimension with practice. And this symbolic dimension needs to be accessed, needs some interrelation between a knower and the subject of these studies. So with these two non-tenable assumptions in mind, we think that we need to develop an epistemology that recognizes the symbolic and subjective dimension of social practice, but at the same time allows for the expression of the causal powers that are at play and that shape health practice. And of course, and we see that with the pandemic, actually, the biological process, the psychological process, and the social structure are shaping our health practice. So in addition to the symbolic world of health practices, there are some materiality that our epistemology should be able to grasp. Finally, the ethical dimension. Well, because health promotion is founded on a discourse deeply rooted in humanist values that focus on process to which health promotion is promoted, there are tensions when we're studying health promotion practice with research designs that are in opposition to those values. And this is really in the tension of producing knowledge about those research, about those health promotion practice without taking into account the values that are promoted through those practice. So our proposition is that as the practice of researchers are also constitutive of health promotion, the values of health promotion research should align somehow with those of health promotion practice. And there are three core values that we think are essential to our work. And these are the values of equity, empowerment, and participation. And these would call for somehow a collaborative practice research relationship in developing knowledge about health promotion. So in order to contribute to a unified field of health promotion research, together with Didier, we've embarked on a project to create the global handbook of health promotion research. The project is ultimately we want to create a community of health promotion researchers, but from a bottom up. So creating a handbook from bottom up is some kind of a paradoxical proposition, but we can live with that. And we do believe that health promotion researchers should have a stake in creating this more unified health promotion research base and knowledge. So we start with the practice of those involved in creating health promotion knowledge. So we create an open global call, and on which we ask those who are doing health promotion research to tell us about their health promotion research practice, to tell us about the research practice, the health promotion practice they study, to tell us about how they study it, and to reflect on the epistemological and ethical dimension of their own research practice and how they relate to health promotion. Well, believe it or not, we've received over 90 propositions that in the form of outline, and we invited 70 and more full chapters. The project is to create a three-part handbook. In part one, we will be mapping health promotion research through chapters and boxes that describe and analyze health promotion research practices about all type of health promotion practice. And we've received chapters from all parts of the world. In the second part, we want to propose an epistemological and ethical framework for health promotion research that is based on our analysis of the practice related to in the chapters that will form part one. This is the part that Didier and I will reserve for ourselves. Finally, in part three, in doing health promotion research, we have started to invite chapters on research approaches that are well aligned with the epistemological and ethical framework, and that should be contributive of health promotion. Our timeline, at this point, we're finalizing chapters in part one together with the authors. During the summer, we'll be finalizing chapters in part 2 and 3. The next fall and winter will be the production of the Global Handbook, and we do hope to hold a global seminar on health promotion research at the 24th IUHPE World Conference that will be held in Montreal in 14 months. So hope to see you there, and let's discuss health promotion research.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Louise. And thanks also to Stephan. A lot of issues raised there, a lot of food for thought. I've been just looking in the chat box here. We have a couple of comments and questions that I will put to you. And if anybody has any other reflections or comments, please use the chat function and we will highlight those. I have one question here, I think possibly for you, Stephan, and it's in relation to the mainstreaming of health promotion. And the question was, mainstreaming through all disciplines, not just public health, ? So that is the comment. And actually, if I might take the liberty of adding to that, sometimes I think that finding our place in public health is often the most challenging of all. So maybe you might address that question, please.
Well, first of all, yes, I agree. I think we might be too driven to try and find our place and keep our place within public health and forget about other disciplines. When I said public health, I did mean actually public health in the very broad sense. So that means also fed by various disciplines. But I think obviously we have to also not lose out of sight that health promotion is much more, and that determinants of health are also finding ourselves outside of health and public health. And I think some of the examples that are very obvious to mention are education. And I think obviously we can also work on education, on health and health promotion within education. And I think some of the people here in the virtual room are very active on that. I think to play that role within education system. And certainly also in other disciplines that are more established. I myself am a psychologist by training, and I can tell you that it is also difficult to bring health promotion to the attention of psychologists, but I think we keep on working. And there's many others that I think, many other disciplines where I think health promotion could be a very good tandem, a very good contribution, and vice versa. So I think the question mark should not be kept. I think it should be within other disciplines and other fields as well.
Great, thank you very much, Stephan. And also just to add to that, I do think that the current emphasis on transdisciplinary work is really, will give a good platform for health promotion, because we were a little bit ahead of the curve, I think, in terms of having that as a kind of core element of health promotion. Okay, so thank you, Louise, also for telling us about the handbook. And I see that Marco Ackerman has also put in some details on the chat about another handbook on teaching and learning in health promotion, so people can check out the details there. So thank you, Marco, for highlighting that. I have another question here on, does a common code of ethics of health promotion exist besides COMP, or is one in progress? Now, I'm aware that we did have a code of ethical practice in the IUHPE for health promotion, but Louise, maybe could I direct that question to you? Maybe you could add to that.
To my knowledge, there's no code common code of ethics for health promotion, and that's part of a project for professionalization. I mean, if we're looking at professionalization, we're certainly looking at some kind of deontology and how we go about, you know, promoting a certain number of values. In terms of research, there's no code of research ethics either. And this is why, I mean, together with Didier, we found that we had the urge to say, well, there's a way of doing health promotion research that should be health promoting in itself, and therefore align with a certain number of values. And this is, you know, what we are hoping to come up with is at least a way of thinking in terms of the ethics of health promotion research. Now, there is increasing debates about is there some ethical framework for doing public health research, public health intervention research? There are some ethical framework for doing research with indigenous communities. So these are all efforts to, I would say, give parameters for an ethical conduct of research, or responsible conduct of research, as we say in Canada, when we're dealing with specific objects. But there are plenty of work to be done there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much, Louise. We have another comment here, question from Jane Wills. Why are there so few university courses in health promotion, and what is lost by its linking with public health and academic discourse? What then should a discrete course offer? Stephan, do you want to have a go at that?
Yeah, I think that's a very tricky question. I think it's I don't have the answer to it. I think it's a fair point to point out the fact that despite the fact that there are so many people who find health promotion interesting, that we only have a number of places, a number of countries that have an offer in terms of masters. I think there's very many countries, including my own country, by the way, where we don't have a master in health promotion. So health promotion is by definition part of something else. So I think that's a shame. And I think it's part of the challenge and one of the results, I think, of the mainstreaming success that we've had. So I think it's always a bit of a win and a lose. So by putting more emphasis on mainstreaming, I think we can put our thoughts into the basket of other disciplines and other training courses as well. But it seems to be at the expense of our own identity. And I think this in times of, I don't know how long we're now in times of crisis also financially, but of course that's always the argument of not being able to have more offer and to have standalone courses. So I don't know the answer in a generic way as to why there are so few, except for the fact that we lost some of the potential by putting more emphasis on mainstreaming. On the other hand, I think there are of course some countries that could lead the way and show that it is possible to maintain good programs in health promotion. I think Ireland is one of the countries for sure. But I think we should also look at some of the interesting more international collaborations in terms of training for health promotion. And maybe we should do a bit more of that as well and see if that can be promoted a bit more also amongst our own community.
Okay, thank you, Stephan. And just to add to that, of course, our competency-based accreditation system lays out some core knowledge and skills that should be a part of a health promotion curriculum, and that provides a good roadmap. You want to come in on that as well, Louise?
Yeah, I think the comment needs to be contextualized. It depends on the countries. And in Australia, for example, they have a whole tradition of health promotion, and there's a lot of courses there, to my knowledge. In the North American hemisphere, the problem is that public health and the core competency in public health as defined by the CEPH, the accreditation system for public health in the US, does not recognize health promotion. For one of the pillars of public health for them is social and behavioral risk factors. So they do not recognize health promotion as a domain, as one of the 5 founding domains for for public health. So when we did create the School of Public Health at the University of Montréal, we were pressurized to adopt this social and behavioral risk factor pillar, and we said no, we're in the land of the Ottawa Charter, so this old things what we do here is health promotion, and it's well ingrained into public health. Yeah. So I believe that if you insist on doing health promotion, then you can do health promotion courses, and we do offer, of course, a master and a specialization in our PhD in public health.
Great, thanks, Louise. I see that David Mcqueen is with us online, and I remember one of his comments very clearly that the name on the door matters. So calling it health promotion and sticking to that is actually holding the line is quite important. I have another question here, possibly for you, Louise. It's from Helene Benes, and she wants to know more about the participation of countries and institutions from the Global South in the knowledge production and implementation of health promotion.
And that is a real problem if you want to be global. I mean, the Global South there's no such a thing as the Global South. There's Global Souths. So the health promotion in Brazil, the capacity for health promotion research and health promotion practice in Brazil is on par with that of many Western countries, whereas other less, I would say, intellectual or academically developed countries with strong academic traditions in the critical social science and in the critical social science of medicine do not have such a strong tradition. So of course we did struggle again a lot with chapters and propositions that were coming from some of the Global Souths, wherein the health promotion tradition is much more aligned with epidemiology, and those claiming to do health promotion are much more aligned with the biomedical sciences and epidemiology than with this idea of empowering. So, but we were able to work with authors and try to see with them what were the underlying values around their work. And we have chapters from all continents and subcontinents, and we did not want this global handbook to be an authoritative Western world view about how knowledge and health promotion should be.
Good. Thanks, Louise. Question from Marco Ackerman. I'll direct this one to you, Stephan. Do we get stronger as a discipline or as a profession during the pandemic?
Again, a good question, but I think it's a bit early to provide the answer as we're still in the heat of it. But I do think I think it works two ways. I think on the one hand, it seems a bit like going back to the past because we almost unlearned to focus on infectious diseases, and I think this pandemic shows that we do also have to build our skills there and the ways to intervene, not only to address infectious diseases as well as NCDs, basically non-communicable diseases, but also the ways in which to deal with crisis situations. And I think we do have quite a lot to offer. And I cannot speak for many countries because I don't have any overview of what happens at the moment. But I do trust that very often, well, first of all, there is an interest on changing people's behavior, which is still also a part of health education, health promotion. But secondly, also to deal with the more governmental interventions and the way we need to make sure that we address not only the disease, but also the consequences of that, which is, I think, rather holistic and requires a holistic approach. And I think this is something that we have to offer. And from my understanding, for the moment, it's often virologists and epidemiologists who are leading the debate, but increasingly, I think other disciplines, including health promoters, are also listened to and make themselves being listened to. And I think we have a role to play also as advocates for health promotion. And I think we have to keep on doing that. And I think we have an opportunity. So whether it is already reaped as an opportunity, I don't know. I think we have to see what happens, but I think we should consider it as an opportunity to make it loud and clear that we have things to offer. Also, and especially also in terms of participation and community-based work, which I think is what we know much better than many of the other disciplines that are taking the lead now.
Thank you, Stephan. Louise, I know you're keen to come in. We have just a couple of minutes left. So Louise, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I think health promotion has been weakened. And like everything that's not medicine and epidemiology, these are the real winner of that because they are at the forefront. And the health promotion workforce has been redirected to conduct epidemiological inquiries. But there is an opportunity. Because there is going to be a reinvestment in public health after this crisis, because people have suddenly rediscovered that if they do not think about public health, then things like that happen. And the big opportunity as well is that, as was, a foretold story, those who were the most affected by this pandemic are those that we could have guessed would be those of low education, those in low paid work, those living in social housing. So there is the opportunity, the reinvestment, and people are starting to realize that it's always the same. It's always the same people who are affected by whatever is affecting us.
Sure.
So there is an opportunity there. We are in a weak position, but we should regroup. And I do think that having a strong knowledge base, strong rational proposition for action is a way to rebalance the discourse, because our discourse is too much ideology and not enough fact to appeal to the public health discourse.
Okay, thank you, Louise. Of course, it's not over yet. We have time to make our case and get our voice out there. So look, I'm conscious of time, so reluctantly I have to bring this to a close. I want to thank Stephan and Louise for two really excellent presentations. Thank you all for your engagement. I didn't get to all the comments and questions. We ran out of space. But all I can say is I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I've had, because I've thoroughly enjoyed the last hour and all the issues that have been thrown up. And I'm looking forward to the next webinar, which will be on the 22nd of April with a focus on salutogenesis, and another on the 28th of April from the Réseau Francophone International pour la Promotion de la Santé. So until then, take care, stay well, and good to see you all. I can see even more people with cameras on now. Okay, bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you all.
Bye.